I always used to feel stuck in my life and could never figure out really how to make decisions or what I wanted. And over the last few years, I have found 4 questions that really help me get unstuck when I feel stuck and find clarity. So the first one is, what do I want? This seems really obvious, right? But a lot of us, myself included, often focus on what we don't want. We think, oh, I don't want her to treat me that way, or I don't want to be living like this. And we get like so anxious and stuck about what's going on that we don't want. We don't think about what actually do I want in this situation? How would I ideally like this situation to play out? What would I want instead? So that is the first question. If you don't know where you're going, how are you ever going to get there? So I would encourage you to take out a journal and really write out, what do you want? And be very measurable and specific about it. I want him to text me every day. I want her to stop calling me that specific name and she could call me this instead. I want to have my own apartment and be making this much money. This is what I want. Get really, really specific. The second question is, what can I do and what are my choices? I really believe that we always have a choice. We always have a choice. And we might have to choose between a few choices that we don't really like. We might not like a lot of the choices that we have, but I believe that we always have way more choices than we think we do. And so in your journal, you can journal about what are all the options that I have, and think about all the resources that you have available. You have Google, you have friends, you have family. You know, one option that I often tell my friends is you can invite your friends to a brainstorm session for them to help you brainstorm what you can do in this situation. You can Google it. 10 ways of making money in Pittsburgh, or find a book to start learning about what you want to change in yourself, or how you can communicate with other people, or whatever. Like, there's endless possibilities for things that you can do. A lot of times people say, well, I can't say no. I can't leave home. I can't do this or that. But a lot of times it's actually just because you don't want to face the consequences of doing so. You don't want your parents to be upset. You don't want your spouse to get mad at you, etc., etc. And that's fine. Like, that's legit that you might not want that, as long as you realize that it is actually a choice to say no. It's very empowering to see the choices that we are currently actually making. And so it's way more empowering to say, I could say no, but I value my parents' feelings over me taking this job that I want. That's a lot more empowering than saying, I can't say no. Another thing people say a lot is, I don't have a way of making money. I can't make any more money. What they often realize when they do this part of the exercise is they actually do have a lot of ways of making money. They just don't want to do any of them, or they don't pay them enough for their time, which is, again, valid, as long as you realize that it is a choice. Like, get a paper route, you could become a stripper at night, you could go back to school and get a different job, you can do all these things, but it might not be what you want, and it might not pay you enough that you feel like it's worth your time, and that's great, as long as you realize that it's actually a choice that you're making. And it helps you become more specific about what you want, because you're like, well, I don't want a paper route because it doesn't pay me enough. Okay, great. So how much do you want to get paid? And then that's a good starting line for you to realize, to become more specific about what you want, which was the first question. So the first question is, what do I want? The second one, what can I do? What are my choices right now? The third question is, why do I want that? A lot of times we want something so that we can feel a certain way. I want him to text me every day because I want to feel loved. I want to feel important. I want her to stop calling me that because I want to be respected. And so there's a deeper internal reason why we want things externally to look a certain way. And this is really important to realize because sometimes there are other ways of us getting those things. There's other ways for us to feel loved. There's other ways for us to feel respected, etc., etc. For example, my husband he has a different love language than I do, and so sometimes I don't feel very loved because I understand love differently than he does. I'm more of like a physical touch, cuddling person, and he's more of an acts of service person. And so when I realize all of the like million things he's doing to show me he loves me, then I feel loved, which was my need in the first place, was to know that I'm loved and that I'm important to him. It might just not come in the package that I originally expected it to. So get out your journal and write down why do I want that? Why is that important to me? This thing that you want. The fourth question is, how can I give that to myself? I believe that we are like a community unto ourselves. We have different parts of who we are. There's that part of you that felt really strong and knew what she was doing when she broke up with, when you broke up with your ex. There's that part of you that is afraid of being hurt. There's the part of you who knows how to ask for a raise. There's all these different parts of who we are, and we can often meet our own needs. So if you want to feel loved, how can you love yourself more? If what you want is respect from someone else, are you showing yourself the same respect that you want from other people? If what you want is to feel important, do you show yourself your own importance by how you live your life? Do you prioritize your health, for example? Do you prioritize and acknowledge and validate your feelings? All these things that show you that you're important to yourself. So with the fourth one, it's not to say, well, nobody else can ever meet any of my needs, or I don't ever need to ask for something. But when we start giving to ourselves what we need, we can better ask for it from others. And we can set boundaries easier. So those are the 4 questions to finding clarity and getting unstuck. I hope they help. So just to review them: 1, what do I want? 2, what can I do and what are my choices? 3, why do I want that? What is the deeper need to this? And 4, how can I give that to myself? So I hope these help you. I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions about these questions.